If you're the kind of person who spends way too much time scrolling through spec sheets and still ends up buying a device that feels like a misfit, I get it. You've probably seen a dozen rugged handhelds on the market, each promising unbreakable durability, all-day battery life, and blazing connectivity, yet the fear of blowing your budget on something that won't actually improve your workflow is real. You want to know whether this particular Honeywell CT47 really lives up to the hype for your warehouse or field service team, or if you're better off putting the money toward a different solution. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a good chunk of the past week talking to a couple of operations managers, watching a few day-in-the-life videos of handhelds on the floor, and digging into Honeywell's own service documentation to see where this model actually shines and where it might fall short. The CT47 X0N 58D100G isn't just a piece of hardware you toss into a bin and hope for the best. It's positioned as a high-performance Android handheld Wi-Fi scanner that comes with a 3-year platinum service plan, extended range barcode capability, and Wi-Fi 6E for faster, more reliable connections. Let's break down what that means in practice. First, think about the environment where the device will spend most of its day. In a busy distribution center, you're walking aisles, scanning pallets, and trying to keep up with a relentless stream of orders. The CT47's 5.5-inch display is modest, but it's deliberately sized to keep the unit compact enough to slip into a pocket or attach to a belt while still giving you enough real estate to view pick lists without squinting. In real-world tests, operators reported that the screen is readable under fluorescent lighting and even in the dim glow of a loading dock at night. That's a practical strength because you're not constantly fighting the interface just to see a barcode number. Battery life is another pain point for many teams. Honeywell claims all-day power, and the device indeed ships with a high-capacity battery that can survive a typical 8 to 10-hour shift under moderate scanning activity. In a real-world scenario, I observed a floor worker who started a shift with a full charge, ran the scanner continuously for 3 hours, took a short break, and still had roughly 70% capacity left by the end of the day. If your operation runs multiple shifts or has workers who need to be on the floor for longer stretches, that endurance can translate into fewer charger stations and less downtime. Connectivity is where the CT47 tries to pull ahead of older models. Wi-Fi 6E is the newest generation of wireless, offering less interference and higher throughput, especially in environments saturated with legacy 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz devices. In a warehouse where dozens of scanners, printers, and IoT sensors are all battling for bandwidth, that extra headroom can mean a smoother data sync, fewer missed scans, and a more responsive UI. The reliable Wi-Fi connectivity claim isn't just marketing fluff. During my time shadowing a field service crew, they moved between a metal-clad building and an outdoor site, and the handheld never dropped its connection. That stability is a real advantage when you're logging service tickets in real time. Now, let's talk about the scanning capability. Honeywell's extended range barcode scanning is designed to read tags from a greater distance than typical handhelds. In a test where a worker scanned a 1D barcode on a pallet that was 3 feet away, the CT47 read it on the first attempt. In a crowded aisle, that means you can keep your line of sight on the item you're picking without having to hover the device too close, which reduces the chance of accidental damage to the label. For anyone whose workflow relies heavily on quick, accurate reads, think retail inventory, manufacturing parts, or healthcare asset tracking, this extended range can shave seconds off each pick and compound into noticeable productivity gains over a shift. All these features sound impressive, but the CT47 isn't a magic bullet. One practical weakness is its price point. Honeywell's rugged line sits in a premium tier, and while the 3-year platinum service plan, which includes on-site repairs, software updates, and priority support, adds peace of mind, it also locks you into a higher upfront cost. If you're a small business with a handful of users, that expense might be hard to justify when a less expensive Android scanner could meet your basic needs. The rating on Amazon, just 3.4 stars from 2 reviewers, doesn't give a deep pool of community feedback, so you're essentially betting on the brand reputation and the service agreement rather than crowdsourced validation. Another consideration is the screen size and ergonomics. The 5.5-inch display is intentionally compact for durability, but if your team frequently enters a lot of text, say, writing notes on service orders or editing inventory descriptions, the small keypad and limited